Trump has incredible momentum as the Harris campaign begins to spectacularly implode, Michael Snyder reports. Are we witnessing a surge in the polls that will ultimately decide this election? At this time, in 2016, Hillary Clinton had an enormous lead over Donald Trump, but over the last several weeks of the campaign, the polls dramatically tightened. The more that the American people saw Donald Trump, the more they liked him, and the more that the American people saw Hillary Clinton, the less they liked her. It appears that a very similar thing is happening now. Donald Trump has always been a star, and his massive rallies are an incredibly powerful campaigning tool. No matter how much money Kamala Harris spends, she can't recreate the same kind of emotional energy that Trump generates because Kamala Harris is not a star. She simply does not have the ability to move people emotionally the way that Trump does, and it was an enormous mistake for the Democrats to choose her as their nominee. A brand new NBC News national poll shows the momentum that Trump has been able to create in recent weeks. September's NBC National News poll had Harris up by 5 points, but now in the latest poll, the two candidates are tied. In the new poll, which was conducted October 4th to 8th, Harris gets support from 48% of registered voters in a head-to-head matchup, while Trump gets an identical 48%. Another 4% say they are undecided or would not vote for either option when forced to choose between those two major party candidates. That's a change from September's NBC News poll, which found Harris leading Trump by 5 points, 49% to 44%, though that result was within the margin of error. And when the third-party candidates are indicated, the same poll shows that Trump is actually leading. An expanded ballot including third-party candidates also showed the shift, with 47% of registered voters in the new poll picking Trump, 46% supporting Harris, and a combined 7% picking other candidates or saying they're undecided. In September, however, Harris held a 6-point lead on this expanded ballot. The mainstream media kept telling us that this was a static race, but these numbers tell us an entirely different story. During a segment discussing this new poll, Steve Kornacki explained that Donald Trump's favorability rating is rising, and meanwhile the opposite is true for Kamala Harris. Of course, this is not the only poll that shows that Trump is building up momentum. Journalist Mark Halperin says that private polling on both sides show that the numbers are definitely moving in Trump's favor right now. When I reported over the last several days about private polling, which is favorable to Trump, says Mark Halperin, that is not Republican-only private polling. It's reflected in the Democratic private polling too. In fact, I think if you'd asked the Harris campaign about their polling, you'd hear a similar story. This is not spin by Republicans about secret or fake polls. This is what is happening in the data. And as we've said repeatedly, the public and private data differs. The public data is cheap and has issues in almost every case. It's just the nature of the beast now for academic and media organizations, not everyone, but most. This certainly does not mean that Trump has the election wrapped up. So much could still happen between now and November. In fact, some very disturbing allegations about Tim Walz are being released as I write this article, so we shall see what happens. But right now, the big online betting markets seem to think that Trump is going to win. Former President Donald Trump is currently leading Vice President Kamala Harris by 10 points on the Polymarket prediction platform, a sharp reversal over betting odds in September. According to the latest Polymarket data, Trump currently has a 55% chance of securing the Oval Office in November, compared to Harris's 45% chance. The former president also reversed Harris's lead in 4 of swing states and now leads in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, with Arizona and Georgia representing the GOP candidates' widest margins of victory. About a month ago, the Democrats were feeling very confident, but now panic is clearly starting to set in. Of course, that has not stopped both parties from doing what they always do. In Democrats' case, this appears to be the week when their traditional pre-election panic has set in. Strategists are now warning that Harris has plateaued, that she, quote, needs to be more aggressive, end quote, and that she has to reinvent herself as a centrist to seal the deal. In recent days, I've read articles dissecting her challenges with male voters, black male voters, Arab voters, Latino voters, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin voters. She also apparently has a Biden problem, a Bibi problem, and a hurricane problem. Harris just is not very inspired at all, and many people find her to be extremely annoying. These laws torpedoed her run for the presidency in 2020, and they are likely to be fatal this time around too. If you want to run for president and win, you need to be a star. It really is that simple. The reason why Trump draws such large crowds to his rallies is because millions upon millions of Americans absolutely adore him. That also makes Trump a target, and it appears that a third assassination attempt was just thwarted. This third attempt against former President Donald Trump was thwarted on Saturday after a Las Vegas man was arrested with weapons and fake passports about a half-mile from Trump's campaign rally in Coachella Valley, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said on Sunday. Deputies assigned to Trump's rally said the driver, Van Miller, rolled up in a black SUV to a checkpoint at the intersection of Avenue 52 and Celebration Drive around 5 p.m. He was found to be in illegal possession of shotgun, loaded handgun, and a high-capacity magazine, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department said in a news release. Bianco told Southern California News Group on Sunday that he believes Miller, who he said is a member of a right-leaning anti-government group, planned to off Trump, and that the deputies thwarted the plan when Miller presented fake VIP and press passes at a checkpoint. They were different enough to cause the deputies alarm, Bianco said. We probably stopped another assassination attempt, he said. As I've stated before, it really will be a miracle if Trump actually makes it to the election, and no matter who it ultimately emerges victorious, the truth is that we are a bitterly divided nation that's rapidly heading in the wrong direction. Whether Trump wins or Harris wins, I'm expecting tremendous civil unrest following the outcome of this election. So those that are looking at Election Day as the finish line are getting it all wrong. This election will not be the end of anything. Instead, it will simply be the beginning of an entirely new chapter. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book, Why, is available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecy of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and he always freely, happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.